Go ahead.
Our mission, Helping Parents Heal, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting parents whose children have passed. Through support and resources offered, we aspire to help individuals become shining light parents, meaning a shift from a state of emotional heaviness to one of hopefulness and greater peace of mind. Helping Parents Heal goes a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non dogmatic way. Helping Parents Heal affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non religious background, and encourage open dialogue. Attendance at this meeting is voluntary. We hope that participants will learn from and share with each other. Discussions here are not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Zoom meetings run by leadership are not confidential. These meetings typically feature guest presenters and are posted on YouTube so that affiliate members worldwide can watch and benefit. Neither type of Helping Parents Heal meeting is designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers, allowing parents to learn about many possible ways to heal. This includes presenters covering progressive topics such as afterlife evidence and connecting with our children who've passed. The views expressed by our guest speakers may or may not reflect the opinions of Helping Parents Heal leaders and members, so we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you've joined us this evening, and Elizabeth and I are just so excited about this.
This
Thanks.
is going to be so much fun. And I'm so grateful that all three of you could join us. I wanted to first say that that this documentary is about all of us, obviously. It's about the incredible signs that we get from our children in spirit. And Amber, Amy, and Sarah are just allowing the rest of the world to know a little bit about what goes on in helping parents heal, but also with our kids in spirit. And Amber, while she was making this documentary, she just actually decided that she had to write this book as well, which is called Signs 101. She's going to be offering it free of charge on Amazon on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So if you want to download an ebook, then you can do that on Amazon. And not only that, but they're all going to be at the conference. So you'll be able to see all of them there. They're also going to be on Extra, which is very exciting. So it should be coming up very soon. I I think that being able to hear their story allows all of us to understand that these signs are a part of life, that they're part of the way that we're supposed to be connecting with our kids in spirit. And they all came together through Reverend Sue Frederick, which is very cool. Amy is an affiliate leader in Charlottesville, which is wonderful as well. And I'm going to quickly read the little blurb about their movie that they're making, the documentary that they're making called Tragic to Magic. And Amber will show you a teaser for the documentary as well. But first, I'm just going to quickly say a little bit about it. Tragic to Magic follows three mothers who endured the unimaginable passing of their sons and then began experiencing the profound magic of after death communication. Interwoven with leading voices in consciousness research and spiritual healing, the film reveals how signs, synchronicities, and ongoing bonds with our children can illuminate a path forward. It is a testament to love that does not end and to the deeper purpose that can rise from tragedy. This is not a ghost story. It is a love story. And oh my gosh, I just got chills when I read that. I'm going to let each person introduce themselves because I am still sick. I'm taking antibiotics right now and I expect to be fine tomorrow. But for now, I can't do very much talking. But without further ado, please join me and Irene in welcoming Amber Briscoe Amy Cox and Sarah Olson, who are going to be creating this beautiful documentary about the communication that they have with their children in spirit. Welcome, Amber, Sarah, and Amy. And Amber, if you'd like to start out, please do.
Sure. Yes. Thank you so much. This is such an honor. I think, one of the things that Amy and Sarah and I have talked about is that this film is as much a love letter to helping parents heal as it is to our children. I'll just tell you briefly a little bit about myself and then Amy and Sarah, and then we can go to the teaser if you want. I have a background I started in TV and video. I did do documentaries many years ago. I have an advertising background, and when my son Jagger passed in 2020, it just obviously changed everything. It leveled me, and I came to this with no fixed beliefs about the afterlife, and finding helping parents heal was like it was like a life raft to a drowning woman. And I'll just Amy and Sarah, if you want to just introduce yourselves, and then I will go to the teaser.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Amy. So happy you all are here. Okay, so I found Helping Parents Heal in probably 2 years after my son, transitioned in 2017. I was desperate to find a community because we need community when this happens. And I found the video, Mom, Can You Hear Me? And I found my people. It's like these are normal people who are having the exact same thing happen that I'm feeling. And it saved my life because I did not think I could exist on this earth without McKellar. And it gave me that hope that I could continue to go. And I knew after he passed that I had to find him. And that began my spiritual mission of trying to find him, knowing exactly where he was and eventually establishing communication, continuing our relationship of mother and son, and this beautiful experience of hope and love, and extending that out to everybody. There you go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah. So by trade, I'm a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for many, many years in the ER, lots of action, things like that. In 2020, I was pregnant and I was 39 weeks pregnant, and I got a call that my son had got shot and killed, my 17-year-old son, Elijah. So clearly this is life-shattering, as you all know. And I was just so lost. I was in this daze for so long, and I was just searching for something because I knew that he was around. He was flickering lights. I knew there was something more to this, and that's when my search began. Of course, I also found the documentary and HPH pretty early in my journey, and that absolutely opened up the doors for all the avenues that I explored. Mediumship, pendulum, sound healing. I mean, it just catapulted me so far into the spiritual world. It was a lifesaver. So now I have so much evidence, actual evidence of video of my son's face in my house, just images, and I just have such a strong communication with him. I am so excited to share it. Like, I meet new parents and I know they're so heavy in grief, but I want to tell them, like, your child is right next to you. And I think the documentary is like a great way to show that, because you can't even begin to put it into words. Well, I'm sure you all know, you tell somebody, yeah, I got a sign, I saw a bird, and people look at you like, yeah, a bird. And you're like, no, it was the moment that my child's name was in my head. So it's just a synchronicity, and being able to show this to people, it's going to be really magical.
Yeah, and I think, especially with extra reaching out to us, to me, that is like evidence that this is getting into more of a mainstream audience. This is becoming, and we're doing our part to normalize that part of the conversation. And, to say like woo-woo is not delusional, it's actually happening to us. It's real. And if everybody is okay with it, I'll go to the teaser and then we can talk about where we are with things a little bit more. And bear with me, this is tricky. I taught myself how to do this today. So, okay. All right. Can you all see my screen? Okay.
You know nothing bad. Oh!
Meet my son, Jagger.
I'm in a
Funny, soulful, weird in the best way. He made me laugh every day. And he never held back his love.
I love you, B.
In an instant, everything changed.
And my loving family and friends, today we do
The boy who filled my home with laughter was silent forever. After Jagger died, I searched everywhere for answers. That's when I stumbled onto a story I never expected. An overdose, a suicide, a murder. 3 boys, 3 shattered families, and one connection that changed everything. The signs were not vague.
It's never happened with this lamp before?
Never.
They were shocking. I looked up in the sky, and there he was. I wasn't the only one receiving messages. In a lab across the world, a woman none of us had ever met was producing photographs that never existed.
Oh, look, there is a boy here.
My mom called and said, "Isn't this Jagger?" It was undeniable. Then McKellar appeared. Then Elijah. 3 boys, years after they died, one impossible truth. And we weren't alone. Thousands of parents are having their own impossible experiences. Elizabeth Boisson created a space where grieving parents could connect with their own children across the veil.
I started going to support groups. When I would go to these meetings and I would say that I'd love to talk about the signs that Morgan was sending me, I wasn't allowed to talk in the meeting, but I would be out in the parking lot and all these parents would swarm to me and say, "We've been having the same thing happen."
This is way more common than people talk about.
And science is starting to catch up.
People who endorse having an after-death communication from someone who's passed on, they do significantly impact their grieving process.
What if these aren't just messages of love? What if they're part of something bigger? A moment the universe has been preparing for.
This is huge. This is historical. This hasn't happened for 10,000 years, where all of these big planets are changing within close proximity to each other. These young souls recognize that to help raise the consciousness of people was going to help save the planet.
It raises the possibility that consciousness doesn't start or stop with the body or the brain.
And leading scientists like Dr. Dean Radin are challenging everything we thought we knew about consciousness.
A case can be made that the world is ready. They're like hungry for something that says there's something actually more going on where we don't have to rely on some religious authority to tell us.
We're told death is the end, but what if it's not? What if these kids are trying to reach us for a reason?
Okay, I think I'm back, right? Okay. So thank you all for watching. I just, as I was watching it, I was just reflecting on just how mainstream some of this information is becoming. The fact that, like I said, that Extra wants to do a story about us. If you look at like the telepathy tapes or some of the content Oprah's putting out right now, or, even woo woo with Rachel Dratch, like this is becoming more mainstream. And I think I speak for my fellow mamas when I say that, this is something that the kids are very much driving and very much opening doors for us, telling us who to contact next. And it's, speaking for myself, 2 weeks before Jagger passed, he had saved a woman's life. He worked at a senior living facility and he came upon a woman who was choking and he gave her the Heimlich maneuver and he came home and he said, Mom, I know what I want to do. I want to help people. And 2 weeks later, he passed. And that has echoed in my head. And I think, Amy and Sarah and I were talking today about why we're doing this. And I think for me, it's to continue Jagger's mission. Yes, I see, don't forget us dads. It just so happens that my group is mamas, but believe me, we haven't forgotten the dads. But yeah, I don't know, Sarah and Amy, if you wanted to chime in. It's really about reaching back and helping the person who's, maybe not as far along. One of the things that I said when Extra interviewed me is that, you go to the funeral home and they hand you the box of ashes and it's like, that's it, then what? And that's what we hope to help show people. Um, so
I definitely want to piggyback on that about the magic, because after returning to your career, after a tragedy like that, things just never felt the same. I didn't fit right back into my old role in the ER. It was just too much for me. I changed as a person. In many ways, I'm much more empathetic and I have all these different qualities, but I had to find something that felt right in my soul. And that's like giving light to the other ones, that other parents that are around and have children that have passed after me or perhaps are struggling. It's just like I want to give them that magic to give them some hope, because it is such a tremendous journey, as we all know. And the magic you feel when you get that sign, in your heart that that's true. It lifts you up and it helps you. And I truly believe that our children come beside us when we're in those moments when the grief just hits you and you're just in that despair. And like a few minutes later, it just lifts magically. I know that's our children. So I just want to share that.
And I'll just add that.
Reverend Sue has, wait, just 1 second. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
there she is. Oh, she did. No, I see her.
Please raise your hand. So I'd love to unmute her if that's okay. And hi, Reverend Sue. We're so happy that you're here.
I just have to love on these three beautiful souls so much. I have watched this project come to fruition. Amber, I'm just giving you the biggest hug in the universe right now, because I have been the one talking to you when you had your moments of doubt and telling you you got this. And Jagger has been with us every step of the way, making this happen. And all of you, Sarah and of course, I can't remember your name. Of course,
Amy.
I know Amy. Of course, I know Amy. Sarah and Amy. I mean, you three are just the beautiful magicians that the world needs to open this conversation, because you're all so beautiful and pure-hearted and authentic, and your children are so beautiful. And to share this the way you're sharing it, it's really what the world needs. And it's just an honor to know and love all of you. And Amber, here's a huge, big hug to you.
Oh, I love you so much. I have to just tell briefly, and Amy, I know you wanted to share, but just a little bit of my background with Sue. I met Sue, well, virtually back in 2014. That was 6 years before my child passed. I had like a career blip. I had a lot of things going on, and I found Sue's book, I See Your Dream Job, found her on LinkedIn, said, I loved your book. She said, do a session with me. Well, we did this session and she said, you're going to be working with people in grief. And she did my numerology. And I was like, I don't even know anybody in grief. It didn't make any sense to me at the time. And she sent me the recording and I kind of put it away. And I found it again after Jagger passed. And, she said some very sort of prophetic things around Jagger and his numerology. But a lot of it just resonated. And lo and behold, then Sue is attached to HPH. She does another reading for me about within a year after Jagger passed and said, I think you're going to be doing a documentary to help people. And I was like, I haven't worked in video in years. And the concept for this documentary was really a download. It really and truly was. Sarah and I were on the phone and we were talking about other documentaries and the subject matter. And I said, I don't know that there's one from the parents' perspective who have walked this path, who have, video and images and audio recordings of some of the magic, and how we're moving forward. And it just kind of came together from there. I mean, I sat down that day to write a treatment and it literally just came into my head. That's how we know the kids are driving.
And also the connection to Sue. Again, Sue, I saw you first on HPH and I thought, oh my goodness, I want to do more. I got to do some workshops and classes. So I got on a workshop and that's where I met Amber very early in my grief. We ended up in a breakout room together and we just connected and bonded. And I mean, it's been so lovely to have someone so close to you on your journey. It helps so much. We lift each other up. So I can't believe it. You're another piece of the puzzle. And Amy, actually, also Amy.
Yeah. So yeah, Sarah and I met, and then Sue introduced us to Christy Majors, who we all know and love from Art for the Heart. And she introduced us to Amy, brought Amy into the fold. And again, the synchronicities were so apparent. And that brings us to where we are.
Oh, you guys are incredible. And I hate interjecting because my voice is so terrible. But I wanted to just say that I would love to be able to hear about all of your kids. If you could just one by one explain about your kids and why you think that maybe this was predestined, that you were going to be doing this documentary together. What is it about their lives here on Earth and maybe about their passings that make you feel? I'd also like for each of you to tell us the strongest sign that you've received from each of them. Obviously, we saw a lot of signs in that trailer, or the teaser, which were amazing. The one in the clouds is just incredible. But I would love to hear your own thoughts on those incredible signs. So it's a lot of information, but maybe Amber, if you could start with Jagger.
Oh, sure. Let's see. So Jagger is, I guess, one of he started right from the beginning. So my son, my only child, passed from an accidental overdose. I thought he was sleeping in his bed and I was going to get him up for work. And I got a call from a hospital and I thought they must have the wrong number because I had heard him in his room. And it was what I found later was when I heard him in his room, it was probably about the time that he passed. And then that night, the smoke alarm in my room kept beeping intermittently. I had friends here, they changed the battery, then the one in my office started beeping. And then the one in my room started beeping again. And then, of course, the lights, the TV. I mean, it was just one thing after another. And I feel like he was really just saying, Mom, I'm here, because it was just the two of us. I think that he knew if he wasn't really loud and really in my face, that who knows what would have happened to me. I think that's what I have. I don't know if Amy, did you want to share about McKellar and then Sarah?
So McKellar ended his life on 2017, July 1, and he really struggled on and off throughout his life with bipolar, anxiety. And I think because he suffered or felt that suffering, that he loved without limitations and was just held us all up and was such just a gentle, loving soul. And the day after he passed, so July 2nd, I woke up and I could see I could see energy throughout the room and moving through the room. As that week went on, lights, we were sitting on the couch, a bunch of us, and my light would turn on and off and turn on and off. And so he began moving electricity, which had never happened before. And I visited a girlfriend that week, and her TV would just turn on and off with that when I was with them. But I would say probably one of the biggest signs that has been happening recently is my phone. I will open my phone, and instead of just having your keypad there, it's McKellar calling. This is a constant phenomenon that opens. I'll just pick it up, flip over the screen. It's McKellar calling. So I've taken like screenshots of that. And the other big sign that has happened with me with McKellar Electronics is if I'm struggling, if something's going on in my life, I will get a random text message from McKellar that will say, "You good?" It's just, you can't make this up. You just can't make it up. It's so incredibly special. And it's such a gift when you finally trust and know and believe that this is happening. And this is happening to real normal people, not just mediums. And it's just like, oh my goodness, these kids are here and they're connecting, they're reaching us. I wanted to say one more thing that Elizabeth had asked about how we know our children are doing this. And this is with Sue and I had a session. And one of the things that McKellar had said through Sue was because of his depression, on and off depression, possible bipolar, he had said, he was like, we get into a negative thought loop and that's not real. What's real is love. And he's like, we are working so hard on the other side here to show you all that it's all about love. That's it. And that's what we all need to focus on, not the negative thought loops. So I wrote all that down. I listened to that. I keep that in my heart, knowing that he actually said, we are working from the other side to do this, to let you all know that. So that's how I also know.
That's incredible.
Kids are doing this.
I have to jump in because I have to say that I love the names of these kids. I mean, Jagger, McKellar, and Elijah, are they not the most original and beautiful names that you could have for three boys? And just the fact that you guys came together through Reverend Sue is so amazing. And obviously, they were destined from the very beginning because of their names, because of their that way that he transitioned, the fact that all of these lights kept going off, and the fire alarm for you, Amber, as well as for you, Amy. Plus the thing about Reverend Sue saying that you are going to be working with grief. Who would ever think when you're just living your regular life that you would ever be working with grief? That's not something that anyone would envision in their lives unless they've had a life-shattering occurrence happen. And obviously it did to all three of you, but you're just making such a difference in everyone's lives by doing this.
Yes,
I'm
and
sorry to break in.
I would. Oh, sorry, Elizabeth. I would love to ask a question if I could.
Wait, we didn't get Sarah though. Let's have
Okay.
Sarah talk about Elijah, if that's okay.
Sure. I love to talk about Elijah. So Elijah was my outgoing child, full of life, talked to everybody. It was just something different about Elijah. I know it sounds strange to say. I have 4 children, but our connection, it was just a little different. I couldn't put my finger on it. I just wasn't sure. And then as you know, he got older, 2 years before he passed, I had this increasing anxiety about him. Just like I was worried about him getting in a car accident. I was very paranoid about sirens and stuff. And he knew that. So if I heard a siren, I'd say, Elijah, are you okay? And he'd say, yeah, Mom, I'm okay. We had this connection. So I it's almost like I knew this was going to happen, but I didn't know. And because he was so, as a teenager, that's really great that he'd say, yes, mom, or he'd just at least like type something, I'm okay. You know, he was so patient with me and at my anxiety. So the day that that happened, when he passed and I said, are you okay? And he didn't respond. I absolutely knew him. I already knew. Um, so I kind of felt like our souls know. And immediately after that, he was flickering the lights. And I was like, Elijah's here. I just said it's so natural. Like, Elijah's here, just getting ready for the funeral. Elijah's here. So it was like already established. I already kind of had a belief. I lost my father when I was young, so I kind of had that. But when I don't remember getting signs from my father, I don't remember the amount of spirituality. Like, I didn't go seek out a medium. So once Elijah passed, it just opened everything up. And let me think about the biggest sign. I did have a dream visitation in the morning, you know, when you're kind of waking up and you're in that in between stage where the alarm's going off, but you hit snooze. I heard him in my ear where I could actually feel my ear vibrate. And he said, Mom, guess what? And then I said, what? And he said, I'm in the kitchen. And he started laughing. And I like sat up in bed so fast and I'm like, Elijah is here. And I know for a fact, like I felt him. I felt his energy, his presence. It was such a gift. It was so real. And of course, we get all kinds of things. And the fact that his name is kind of rare, I did get a soda bottle this Saturday with his name on it. A Diet Coke. It said Elijah.
Oh my gosh, that's not a very typical name, too. That's beautiful. Irene.
Yes.
Please.
So I would love if you could spend some time and just tell us how you got started with the documentary, whose idea it was, you know, how did you brainstorm for this? Where did you go to do it? How did you do it?
Sure. It came up in like really, as I said, spontaneously. Sarah and I were talking. I was on my way home from doing this big project that really just kind of beat me up. And throughout the whole project, I kept thinking like, this isn't aligned with what I want to do. This is not aligned with what my soul is pushing me toward. And it was like the day I literally was driving back from the city and Sarah and I had this conversation. And so, I started putting together the treatment. We were having conversations. I spoke to Sarah about, do you want to be part of it? I talked to Amy, do you want to be part of it? The boys made perfect sense. As I started doing research, one of the things that really shocked me was that, between 2019 and 2021, the adolescent mortality rate in this country had gone up 20%, and it's still on an incline. It's not going down. And that is the biggest jump in like 50 years. It makes no sense. And so there's more and more and more of us. And three of the sort of pillars of what's taking our youth are overdoses, suicide, and murder. And it just so happened that we were sort of those three pillars. So that started making a lot of sense. And then a lot of it was just figuring it out and having a lot of conversations with people. And one of my friends had moved from advertising work to documentary, and he said, you don't need a lot of money to do a teaser. He said, do interviews on Zoom, record them, teach yourself to edit. That's what I did. I did, the research. I paid for the editing software. I did the interviews. I gathered all the footage. I paid for music. I found fair use video. I mean, it's really scrappy, very scrappy. And right now, the place that we're at is we are. We have a distribution agent who's starting to shop this to streamers and larger production companies. I have a list of nonprofit sponsors who could aid us with raising funds. So we're kind of approaching this two ways. We are raising funds if we end up needing to shoot this ourselves, but we're also pursuing partnership with either a streamer or a production company. None of us have doubted from the beginning that this will happen. And this is how I know it's going to happen. We have never doubted it. And, I've been a producer my whole professional life, and I'm kind of old, and I've never had that kind of confidence going into anything. And we just know that it's the kids. The kids are, I may have stopped me if I'm repeating myself, but we had, we recut the teaser and we were finally ready to put it out. I said, you know what, why don't we have a Facebook group? Within 24 hours of posting the Facebook group, Extra reached out, and then they scheduled a meeting on Jagger's birthday to talk about it. And I was like, okay, this is the kids' fingerprints are all over this. I don't know. And Sarah we'll be talking and she'll just get a download and she'll say, okay, I think this is the direction that we should go. I mean, that's where the idea for the book came from. Sarah, did you want to talk about that a little bit?
Wait 1 second. I just want to say, isn't there a significance today as well, the 13th? I remember that you told me that there was something that was significant about the 13th, but maybe I may be wrong. I'm going to have to find your text to find out.
It was a medium said that the 13th was important.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That is so funny. Thank you, Amy. Anyway, this is just amazing. And what's really exciting about this is that there are so many people in the chat box talking about how important this is to be able to bring this to fruition, because it's something that validates all of us. It's not just the three of you, which is very important, not just your three kids who are beautiful, but it's all of our kids working together to help you to do this.
Yeah, and I think Sarah was just, Amber,
Yeah.
you had asked Sarah to add something to the conversation. You want to unmute, Sarah?
Sure. I think just you're talking about the ideas. I have used the pendulum now for quite a few years, and I feel very confident in the pendulum, to the point that sometimes it tells me an answer that I don't believe it is, and I go with it, and it never fails me. So that, and also the fact of these ideas that get dropped in out of nowhere when you're not thinking about it. I'm doing the dishes, so I know it's them dropping it in, and then I just mention it, and then Amber's like, that's a great idea. And I'm like, that was not me. Clearly that was spirit. And it seems to be working. So here we are, my pendulum, and just being present. So yeah.
Somebody asked what a pendulum is. Sarah, do you want to talk about it and how you use it?
Sure. I don't have it on me right now, although I have one in my car, in my bag. I usually wear one in my neck. I mean, I have it all the time. You can even get them on Amazon. It's just a chain and it has a little stone on the bottom. You can get different kinds, and then you kind of play with it, and there's videos you can watch. And actually HPH had people on teaching it before. It's where I learned it initially. And I kind of just worked a relationship with it. And I believe it's my spirit guides. I call them my soul posse. And of course, my son Elijah is part of that. And I kind of have a different way of talking to him. I'll say, Elijah, it's all yes and no questions. And they say yes and no. The pendulum moves without you moving it. It works with your energy. And you just kind of learn how to ask the questions. Now, are we intended to ask everything? Certainly not. Like some things I know that they want me to live into. I wouldn't get all the answers because obviously I would have asked for the lottery numbers, but I do believe that they give us enough to kind of guide us. So, yeah.
It's beautiful. And I just wanted to say that the person who does these pendulum classes, or a lot of the classes on our YouTube channel, is Christine Salter. She's also taught it at our conferences, and it's very easy, but you're holding that chain completely still and the pendulum moves by itself. So you know that it's your child who's helping you with that. or spirit. So anyway, sorry to interrupt. And let's see, was Amy going to add to that? No?
Well, I just wanted to say that, Amy has really brought a deeper, understanding of grief. Amy is studying with David Kessler and has just been working, and I don't want to speak for you, Amy, but also just has a relationship with folks at UVA at the Division of Perceptual Studies. So, Amy, I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that.
Just so the Department of Perceptual Studies, that's right, is here at the University of Virginia, and I was able to tap in with them, which they are I feel close to saying that their scientists are pretty confident in trying to let all of us know that consciousness extends way outside of the brain, that you cannot create it, as Dean Rader had said, you cannot create it, you cannot destroy it, it exists. So they are always running tests and experiments, and they're going to the IONS conferences, and it's right here in my yard. And I started going to a monthly group of theirs and was able to get in with some of the scientists, and they are fascinated and so grateful for helping parents heal and all of us. And I was just able to get the connections in with Amber for the scientific part, because part of it is scientists finally saying, yes, this is real. This is not out of the ordinary. Yes, people, this is it, which helps us all understand that our children are right here. And it's very, very important for us to continue with this.
Yeah.
Well, I believe Dr. Eben Alexander is part of, or used to be part of University of Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia. Yeah, he's here also. I mean, all these great scientists and people who have brought it to head, and they're like, it is happening. And it was really interesting. The last meeting I was at, one of the scientists said, it's out there, but there's still only about 20% of scientists who are really saying, yes, this is real. But the fact that they're even saying it, the fact that they're doing it, they're making so much progress still. We're ready. We are ready. We are ready for this to happen.
We're absolutely ready. Dr. Penberthy, when I interviewed her, she was telling me that her husband is a cardiologist and her dad was a surgeon, and they both had shared death experiences in the OR. And she said, this is an open secret. This is just doctors don't talk about it. As we know from Mary Neal, right? At the listening to her talks.
Exactly. She doesn't talk about it, but she comes and talks to us, which is so exciting. And she'll be at this conference coming up as well. And we're thrilled to have her there. And Irene, did you have something that you wanted to say?
I just wanted to add to that to say that also, Oprah interviewed Dr. Bruce Grayson, which was huge, really huge. And that brought so much to the center of all this. But I wanted to ask you all to talk a little bit maybe about your website and how people could find out more information and where you're going from here with this.
Sure. Actually, if one of us could put the website in the chat, we would just love everybody to learn a little bit more about the film. If you go to our website, there's a little bit about sort of what they call the log line of the film. The teaser lives there. There's also a page with our bio. And then a little bit about the book. And the book kind of, again, came out of conversations around the film and about, to your point, this is not just about Jagger, Elijah, and McKellar. This is about all of us. And it's about normalizing this conversation, right? And also just putting light into the world. I mean, it can be a very dark place these days. And that's really important to us, that we want that return to love and putting some light out there. So yeah, if you would please go to the website, share it. If it sparks an interest with you, the more people that see it, the better it is for all of us.
And remember also, I mean, we still have time, but remember to download Amber's book. She will be on the book club coming up here, but unfortunately, we don't have that scheduled yet, but it would be wonderful for you to download that during the time that it's free of charge. So you can have it as a download. And I just feel so grateful that this information is getting out to all of the parents in Helping Parents Heal as well, because it's important for all of us to realize that doctors have been talking about this for actually generations. The fact that this is something that exists. They see it in emergency rooms. They see it when people experience near-death experiences like Dr. Eben Alexander did as well. And it's not something that they talk about very much, but they are starting to talk about it. And I think that this documentary will be a great way to boost that interest in the afterlife for people who aren't necessarily people who have a loved one in spirit. And I think that the people that have loved ones in spirit who are the most vocal and the most interested in pursuing this are Shining Light parents. As all of you know, we want to connect with our kids in spirit and we want to communicate with them. And the most important part is that they want to do the same thing with us. They are working as hard as we are to connect with us here on Earth. So anyway, so maybe you could tell a little bit about this book, Amber. You said that it just came out of this film, but could you tell us exactly how you decided to write a book? Because that's not an easy feat.
Sure. Well, one of the things that we had been talking about was, just different ways to kind of get the word out. And again, we're all on the same page of, first and foremost, we want you to fall in love with our sons, but we also want to help people. And, part of that is you can also get signs. And there would be no Signs 101 if it wasn't for HPH. And in fact, Elizabeth, you graciously agreed to we had a questionnaire. What signs have you gotten? Tell us about your child. And I think something like 23 parents from Helping Parents Heal responded to the questionnaire. A lot of those stories are told within the pages and about, what kinds of signs, how to recognize signs, what to do when there's a lull, when there's quiet, because there are quiet seasons from our children. And also, how has the after-death communication affected our grief? We tried to write it in a way that was a gentle, like for me, and I don't know if other parents can relate, but when Jagger died, I got a stack of books. People don't know what to say, but they send you books. And it's lovely, but I couldn't get through like a solid book. It was really hard. I had no attention span. The grief was dark and I needed something light and bite-sized. And that was sort of the intention behind the book.
That's wonderful. And I want to say that when I sent this out, I sent it out in an email because we don't allow surveys on Helping Parents Heal just because of the fact that we are a safe place for parents to heal. And we have so many people who want to do surveys on Helping Parents Heal. But this is something that was also near and dear to my heart. And I knew that people that I knew that have gone farther down the road in their healing process are very interested in being able to let other people know about these signs that they're getting. And I'm really glad that they participated in the book. But again, this is going to be free of charge. And it's a great way to get started on your healing journey, to be able to read a little bit about how other parents perceive these signs. And I just wanted to also address the fact that a lot of you saw Life to Afterlife, Mom, Can You Hear Me, in the very beginning. And I feel very sad that that documentary, which was about 20 parents who have incredible signs from their kids and how that helped us on our healing journey. Right now, it's not available. It was on Amazon Prime. It was on YouTube. And there were just so many people that watched that. And it was simply parents sitting on a sofa talking to the interviewer, which was Craig McMahon at the time. I'm sure that you guys are going to be doing a little bit more than that, but it was pretty incredible because at the time, that video, which was 2 hours long, everyone that I knew that watched it through to the very end. And these are all parents like us, but this is what everybody wants to learn about and hear, is that we're having these incredible conversations with our kids in spirit. And again, as I said on your trailer, which actually uses, or on the teaser, which uses some video from Carl, who is our, and I know you reached out to him as well, and I'm glad that he let you use that for the teaser. But to be able to just say that that kind of experience that you guys are all experiencing right now is something that changes our lives. And actually having a child in spirit is not, it's almost not a burden, it's almost a gift, because I feel like I have Morgan with me every second of the day. I feel like I have Chelsea with me every second of the day as well. I know that that sounds very strange, but the things that we learn from this journey are magical, just as you've said, in Tragic to Magic. And maybe if you could, let's see, we have 9 minutes left. So if you would like to just kind of tell us a little bit more about your own experiences with this documentary. And then also, again, we're so excited that all three of you are going to be at the conference. So if any of you are going to the conference, you'll be able to meet all of these wonderful and beautiful ladies in person. But Amber, I'm going to pass it back over to you to talk a little bit about the book and about the movie as well.
Sure. I think, one of the conversations that we often have is that, having a child pass opens us up to this magic. And it does feel like magic. I mean, those first few signs, you're like, okay, I've never had this happen. I mean, I've seen objects move in my house. And, the first time the TV turned on, I was like, okay, I've made it at the time 56 years and I've never had a TV turn on. That might not be scientific, but it's close enough for me, and but again, like and Reverend Sue teaches this, right? There's the soul lens and the human lens. And, we paid the highest price to be able to be open to this magic. And, it's never going to be enough. I still want my child in my arms. I still want to go through the earthly journey. And frankly, I don't know that I'll ever be free of grief, but the magic is keeping me here. The magic and wanting to be of service and wanting to reach back, that, and to teach people you can live with a broken heart, you can.
It's
So
beautiful.
I don't know if Sarah or Amy wanted to say anything. I'm sorry, yes?
I just wanted to say, Chris is chiming in, and Chris obviously wrote the book for the dads. So obviously the dads obviously want to also just be included in this conversation. Dads also receive these signs, but he's saying, I've always thought that magic was the biggest bonus when our son Sean transitioned. He allowed us to be closer to the magic. Love the name of the doc. So anyway, there's some beautiful comments in the chat box as well. And yes, go ahead. Maybe Amy, we'll go to you.
Yeah, so I think what I would love to say is that when McKellar left, I truly did not think I was going to survive without him, which I imagine a lot of us felt that same way. And to be of a live witness that not only am I surviving, I'm thriving now because of the connection, because I know he is existing, because as a regular human being, we can all do this. We can all connect with our children. We just have to work at it. We have to trust. We have to believe. They want to connect. They want us to continue living. And I never would have thought that this was possible. Even though the first days, years, I really didn't think I was going to make it. And I am not only making it, I am thriving. And the same as Amber, I long for him every day for his physical body and being in that physical hug and hearing and smelling and all of that. But I'm so grateful that anytime I want to connect with him, I can. And so for me, paying forward that hope, that magic has just been, once I experienced it, I was like, everybody needs to know this. Everybody who has this deep heartbreak and grief needs to know this is real. It can happen. What can I do to do this, to bring this forward? And so those of you I've seen some messages who are brand new on here, hold on to our hope. We have it. We are witnesses. We are the light that is shining on you right now.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I just want to say that Jody, just going back to the book very quickly, she's saying the book is fabulous, Amber. You created a perfect, gentle, easy way to read, easy to read short guide that I wish had been available to me when Kobe joined Spirit in 2020. Congratulations. So again, don't forget to download this book tomorrow, Thursday or Friday. Thank you, Amy. That was absolutely beautiful. And you're exactly right. We will never stop missing that physical contact with our kids. But everything that's been brought into our lives, all of these incredible friends, all of this incredible knowledge is so overwhelmingly wonderful that I can truly say that I do find joy in every single day when I never thought that I would find joy again. And so let's go to Sarah and then.
Yeah, Elizabeth, I just want to say one thing.
sorry.
If you would take a look, someone in the chat found Life to Afterlife. Mom, can you hear me? So we need to copy that and save it somewhere.
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, that's very exciting because we have so many people requesting it every day and we couldn't find it ourselves. But that's good to know. And thank you. So we'll copy it and paste it. And Sarah.
Just in closing, what you said, Elizabeth, about I actually feel that my son knows me better now that I feel him around me so much. It's almost like he's combined and we've merged. And I have different beliefs about soul planning. We have our own beliefs, whatever we believe, true to our heart. But I certainly just feel like he's with me all the time. It's a different kind of relationship, and I do connect with him. I'll feel him pulsating on my ear when I'm kind of onto something. So we don't always need mediums. This is like possible for us to do this on our own, which we can get medium readings just to validate it once in a while. And you're like, yes, I knew that. So I just encourage everybody to try to explore whatever feels right. They're leading.
We're all mediums. We just don't know it.
We
But
are.
you're right. It's something that spurs us to be able to explore that as well, like the pendulum. I mean, obviously the signs that you're getting from Elijah are incredible. They're guiding you to be able to create this documentary. And I'm going to speak for everyone on here because this is what we've been hearing in the chat box. We're all behind you 100%. And our kids are behind you as well. So I know that this will come to fruition. And what an exciting thing to be able to show it on here at some point and be able to have everyone see it. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. I want to make sure that everyone has the website for Tragic to Magic. Please go and watch the trailer, watch the teaser. Also, share it with others. Please share as much as possible. And then also tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, download this wonderful book. If you haven't read it yet, then you'll love it. It's free of charge. And are there any other questions that you had, Irene, before we end the meeting?
No, this is great. If the three of you would like to unmute and just, some closing words, good night.
Just how grateful we all are. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be working on this film if it wasn't for the beautiful work of helping parents heal. And you are, again, a lifeline for so many tens of thousands of parents. So thank you.
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you all.
I'm hoping to meet a lot of you at the conference.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
we love you, Sue.
And we love Sue. She's going to be presenting at the conference, by the way. Andrea Curry is on here. She's also going to be doing her incredible healing sound bowls. So that's going to be a wonderful room to go into because we're going to have a slideshow of all the kids going the whole time. We have caring listeners on here as well. I see Sherry Abdu is here. If you need to speak to someone, Sherry's just so wonderful to speak to. And again, Irene and I are both caring listeners as well. We'd love to speak to you if you need anything. Jody is an affiliate leader in Vancouver. Let's go ahead, and I'm sure I'm missing people, and please forgive me, I only see one page. But let's go ahead and have everyone unmute and thank all of you, if that's okay.
We love you. We love you. We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you guys so
Thank you
much.
very much.
See you soon, actually on Thursday. We'll see you on Thursday. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you all.
Good night.
Good
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye.